If you were to like map out the maturity phases of this approach that you're taking, and you're kind of seeing like a variety of clients at different maturity stages there, like what does maturity implementation path look like for personalization messaging? Maybe we focus on like the post purchase use case. I tear my maturity path apart here, but like for me, step one, super basic, simple behavioral rule based stuff. Assuming that the behaviors are coming into your messaging platform fast enough that you can do stuff before 48 hours. But step two to me maybe is we start bringing in personas and use cases, and we're having multiple journeys within that like simple behavioral rule based stuff. We're adding like past purchase history, use cases for cross sell, going into like different products if you have multi products. Step three is dynamic content. So the emails that you're sending out, or the text messages, or the push notifications, you're dynamically changing the content of that based on the persona, the use case. We're creating performance management systems so people can pick and choose what type of messages they want to like receive. So we're almost like creating content modules, Lego blocks within the emails that we're sending out. Then we're getting a bit more complex. So like step four is implementing AI in this. So like step one to three didn't really have AI in any of these. In step four, we're introducing propensity models and uplift modeling into our messaging. So thinking about like the next best action instead of like having rules determine the dynamic content that shows up in the message to the user, we're letting a machine predict the right next best action to suggest to that person based on a bunch of historical data. And then finally, maybe like a step five is like the marketer is feeding content to a machine, and we're letting that machine fully orchestrate unique messaging journeys for individual people based on the channel they engage with the most and the right time to be sending them that message. Is that the right way to think about it? Like tear my maturity phase apart there, Encore.
No, I agree up to a certain extent, and it definitely is always evolving. The whole about your maturity curve, it has to evolve. So, uh, I totally align what the way your maturity curve. I will share what works best for me, and it's very much close what you said. So I always start with the behavioral triggers. That's the simple way to start understand the customer needs and to provide the right nudges and right direction to your customers. How we can serve them better. So we start with a simple rule-based notification when the customer completed their first account setup, and that increase the follow-up visits or the follow-up purchase criteria. Then we can go with the segmentation enhancement. And this is the where you point where you have collected enough first party data and you have combined with your second and third party data, where you can evolve your demographic segments to behavior based micro segments, incorporating transaction patterns, digital engagement. This allows us to create distinct journeys for conservative savers. I'm taking examples of any financial services firm. So conservative savers who want to invest in more conservative way, and there are some active investors who want to do major risk taking capability. So you have a different journeys for them. Once you are done with the basic segmentation enhancements, you can move to the content modularization. What we suggest is a component-based content system with dynamic elements that adopt based on the relationship you have built with the customers or specific financial needs based on preference like uh, how much frequency you want to communicate, what are the topics you are interested in. Some customers like frequent communication, some customers do not want to get frequent communication. So you need to respect that preferences and build your content according to their needs. Once we are done with this basic infrastructure of work, then we can move to the predictive personalization, and that's where we come with the models, machine learning capability to predict likelihood of specific financial needs based on the life events, like if somebody's getting retired, or having PKs, or getting married. Those lifetime events will help you to learn your models better, and then you can build your next best action approach, offering relevance from improving your. So, in my example, I was able to improve the relevance by 42% and conversion by 28% by moving into this step four. And this itself is a good amount of personalization we have done. Most of the organizations are not able to complete this, optimize this first four step, and they move to the next
Yeah.
step, which is the AI orchestration. But I strongly recommend to focus first on the top four and then move to AI orchestration, where we can deploy machine learning to continuously optimize journeys based on the real time engagement and financial behavior. Uh, Creating truly individualized experience that improve retention and by 24% and will improve the share of wallet by 29% for the customer I worked with recently. What I would say that measure your each step. At each step, measure your measure how it's getting aligned with your KPIs and the organization goals before you advance to the next step.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a really good point in this actually. Like A/B testing or creating holdout tests or some type of incrementality where you can see the net impact of moving from step number 2 or step number 3 from the previous step. And maybe that's even like an interesting element to introduce to this. Like, at what stage do you implement simple A/B testing in some of these like journeys or orchestrations versus automating some of those testing frameworks? Like, I've seen some tools that allow you to have like before you decide to go from like step 3 to 4 or 3 to 2, you can do a simple test and you run it for like 3 or 4 months or whatever, and then you see the net incremental dollar impact and you decide to go all in on like the next step. It makes sense for us to do it. But sometimes some tools have it just baked into the process where we're going to work with you to get to step 4, for like we're going to jump from step 1 to step 4 right away. And everything that we're going to do in step 4 is going to have a holdout group. There's going to be a control group in every message that we send, and we're going to be able to give you the incremental impact of every message that we're doing in step 4, so you'll see the results along the way. What are your thoughts on like instructing the human-based A/B test versus adding the automation testing framework as part of that?
Yep. And this get asked multiple times, and most of my clients have this common question: when to start A/B testing. And in my experience, I always recommend timing depends of your A/B testing depends on the personalization maturity and resources you have. So I recommend introducing A/B testing at the step two of their personalization journey, immediately after implementing basic behavior triggers. We can start by testing subject lines or call to action variation in our any of the email communication. We reveal in the in one of the recent engagement, I realized that after first implementation of A/B testing, manual A/B testing, we found there's a 31% performance gap between the A and B variation. And that help us to understand a lot about what our customer likes and do not like, and getting the right engagement data. However, we waited till step four, predictive personalization step, to implement the automated testing frameworks. By this point, and the reason by this point, you want to have sufficient traffic volume to across segments to achieve the statistical significance quickly.
Hmm.
Establish content modules that can be systematically tested, data infrastructure to support so that you can analyze the result efficiently and more effectively. Then by the time organizations come with the clear KPIs as well as initially it's very broad. Now you have a more clear, defined, granular level KPIs optimized for the customer segmentations. Then I move to the automated framework after the step four, where we can use a machine learning to continuously test content variation across different customer segments, automatically relocating traffic to the winning variations. This actually will increase the conversion by 20 to 30% depending on the what financial services firm you're referring to. But it but I have seen 37% increase by just doing the manual A/B testing. The key lesson was starting simple manual test to build a testing culture before investing in automation. Many organizations rush to automate frameworks before establishing organizational discipline of hypothesis driven testing, leading to sophisticated system. that generates insights nobody acts upon. So first focus on the data you're collecting, how you want to engage it, make it sure that KPIs are clear, your data infrastructure is there, content is there. Then you go with the A/B variation more in automated way.
Such a great point there on the data foundation piece there. I think that, for a lot of folks listening, maybe there's like some marketers on the team that were just like, we want to start doing step 5 or even like step 4 or 3. And the marketing ops team, the marketing technologist knows the state of the data right now. And even though we could get to that stage from like a tech standpoint, the data that we have in place right now just isn't structured, or we don't have enough pieces associated with it. It's not enriched enough to be able to do like step 3, step 4, or step 5. So like before any of this like crazy like step 3 or 4 or 5 that we talked about, there are like these data foundation pieces that need to be in place before it's even an option, right? Like what does the data maturity look like for this? Like when do you know, in your opinion, that you're ready for step 2 to 5?
I learned the critical importance of data foundation really hard way, and this happened during my early in my career. I was helping one of the wealth management firm, and I was asked to implement the personalization strategies using AI driven and make it happen now. Despite that happens all the time. You want everything to be done right away. So despite my concerns about the data readiness, I felt the pressure to move quickly. So we launched
Mhm.
personalized investment recommendation program using what data we had. The results were really bad. We sent inappropriate retirement planning offers to the client who are still in 30s, or suggested college going plan to the customers whose children have already graduated or they're so we realized so many mistakes, and we did in the personalized journeys and email communication we did, or the way we want to interact with our customers went really bad. So this painful experience led to me develop what we call a data readiness roadmap. We took a step back and focus on fundamentals. For our basic triggered communication, we first ensured 90% of my identity resolution across channels uh, and clean transaction data to achieve less than 12 hours of latency. Before attempting segmentation, we spent 6 months building customer profiles with consistent behavioral history, standardization of attributes across the retail and the wealth divisions. So we really know what our customer is instead of treating customer from different angles. And all this 6 months of work, that patience really paid off. When we relaunched the personalization program after a few months, client engagement increased by 43% and new investment account open rose by 28%. The valuable lesson I learn and I share with my team all the time is the quality of data foundation directly determines the ceiling of your personalization capabilities. So, as you said, data foundation is very important to begin with.